This is Bryce on BYU. Alright guys, welcome back to Bryce on BYU. It's finally here. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much this 2 week, the 2 weeks of, the 2 weeks off, the bye week kind of killed me having to prepare for this one. Oh my goodness. So last week I posted that, the Why Can't We Be Friends podcast, just making sure that we kind of keep the rivalry, above board. And I think the rivalry is honestly a good place for the most part. Obviously, there's some bad actors out there, but I've enjoyed the interactions I've had with most of the Utah fans on Twitter, even some of the more ardent ones that aren't necessarily going to be, super nice and friendly necessarily. They're still being, not necessarily terrible. And I mean, to be fair, I have either muted or outright blocked. I think I've only outright blocked one or two fans, and it's just for saying stuff that I found offensive and was like, you know what, I just don't want to see it in my timeline. And I mean, it's not easy on Twitter. I've realized that I don't need to engage as much anymore as I used to, because when I was younger, it was like, oh, I gotta defend whatever it is that I'm defending, and it's like, it's just not gonna help anybody. It's like, why? But anyways, BYU, Utah, conference implications for the first time since 2010, first game since 2021. BYU won in 2021, so BYU's been sitting on this victory for 3 years. But it's time to get the rivalry going back again, and again, a conference rivalry makes the implications so much greater. The fact that this isn't just, for bragging rights in Utah, the fact that this has so much more meaning with BYU being undefeated, trying to go 9-0, trying to continue their place atop the Big 12, a place that none of us, but whether we be Utah fans or BYU fans, almost none of us thought they would be here at this point. And Utah's reeling off of 4 losses in a row since they took down Oklahoma State. A win that at the time for Utah, when they beat Oklahoma State, it felt like, we've got control of things. Well, it hasn't turned out so well since then. And I'm not doing this to rub it into Utah, but since then they've lost to Arizona, Arizona State, TCU, and Houston. And but they've had some strengths, and they're still a talented team. And so it's what concerns me about Utah, is that there's still so much talent there. There's still a team there that was supposed to win the college football playoff this year, or not supposed to win it, but was supposed to be there, was supposed to win the conference, was supposed to, the way BYU season is going is the way Utah fans expected their season to be going. So, that's where we're at. And I've never, it's been so long since I've seen BYU be in a place of having a little bit of an upper hand in the rivalry, in the sense of, like, their season's going better, they've got more on the line to play for, and just a lot going on. The odds makers have BYU right now by 3.5 points. I think it's a rivalry game, so anything can happen, really. It's one of those things where I really think BYU should run away with this, but I think, honestly, there's a good chance that this is just another one-score game in the rivalry. I would love to see BYU come out and win by 2 or 3 or 4 touchdowns. But I just don't know if I see that happening. But BYU's proved me wrong time and time again this year. And it's been amazing. I've loved for them to prove me wrong. But like I said, Utah is still this super talented team that they started the year with. Yes, minus some key pieces like Cam Rising, like I think Dorian Singer was one of them, or maybe it was, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it's Dorian Singer, and then Ute fan Ivan on his Twitter seemed to indicate that there might be a couple more that are being announced today that they won't be playing for, I think, this game and maybe the rest of the season. I don't know those names, so I'm just passing on just general information. But check Ute fan Ivan out on Twitter. He would have the info up probably. Assuming it's public, he's probably retweeted it. By the point that this comes up. But yeah, I mean, so you have a lot of key pieces missing. and both on, you have some on the offensive line. I think you still have some on defense, and then just some key offensive pieces between the receiving core and the quarterback. And then you've got a quarterback situation that's very it's very, very rough right now, because you've got a quarterback competition midseason between Isaac Wilson and Brandon Rose, assuming that what they are telling the public is what's actually going on. I would honestly probably expect Brandon Rose to start this, and that's going to give you a different look than what they have in terms of film, because you only have that you only have like a couple drives from Brandon Rose, so it's a matter of seeing what you can do, and Utah's going to throw out something different than what they've got. But yeah, Utah, they've like I said, they've got a strong running game, they got some strong O-line play and awesome defense. I'm still bitter about with the O-line play. I'm still bitter about the fact that BYU lost the Fano brothers because they had a coach at the time who the Fano brothers, the reports seem to indicate the Fano brothers did not love. Daryl Funk, Coach Funk, he did not, he did not endear himself to the hearts of BYU fans because of the way that last season went and the way that the recruiting had performed. I mean, look at it in a year. The difference is that 1 year you've lost, you've lost the opportunity to have both Fano brothers play for BYU, and in the next year you're getting a big recruit in Austin Pay. And in Kalani, I'm trying to, Kalani Uvala, I think is his name. I'm trying to remember. I doing that off the top of my head because I just thought about it. Is kind of a wild thing to do. Kalani Uvalu, sorry. Kalani Uvalu. I mean, like, these are much bigger things to have happen for BYU. And you're seeing much better development along the line. And, like I said, so I'm bitter that, Utah has this incredible alignment that BYU, if they had the right coach last year, they might have had a better year last year, and they might have been able to get more O-linemen that would be able to continue to show up. BYU's O-line has been great. So I'm not bitter in the sense that, we'd be good, because we are good. We have been good this year. But, it's just been, kind of a what could have been situation. But, and that's part of the thing, is both sides of the ball, or both sides of the ball, both teams have guys that were recruited by both teams, or have played for both teams, have family that's played for both one or the other teams. And so you get this kind of split rivalry feeling, and it's going to be, I think, an intense game, because Utah's definitely going to want to make sure that they're putting everything out there to make sure that they knock out BYU's undefeated season, and BYU is going to want to continue to get this undefeated season going, because if you win out, if you continue to win, you control your fate in terms of getting into the college football playoff. If you can win out and go to the conference championship, and then once you go to the conference championship, if you win there, you're in the college football playoff, and that would be an incredible time for BYU to be able to try to finish this season off strong in that way. But right now, the thing ahead of them is Utah. And it's going to be a tough task. Like I said, they've got some awesome defense. Like, TCU went on to score a bunch after they played Utah, but in that Utah game, TCU was only able to put 13 points up on Utah. But Utah was only able to put up 7. So, Utah may have lost 4 in a row, but their defense is still showing up, and they still have lots of talent along the offense. They just need to figure out, kind of where to put things. I think one of the things I'd expect from BYU, because from BYU, what you're seeing in their strengths is lots of complementary football. You're getting a lot of, the special teams feeds the offense, feeds the defense, and it just all kind of works like a just a well-oiled machine. Their defense has been doing amazing at causing and creating turnovers. I think 14 interceptions is the number. And so, beyond that, they've had, I think, 4 fumbles that they've recovered. The running game is starting to get going. You've got LJ Martin, who's had a couple 100-yard games recently. And, BYU's looking good. They're looking to click. But the defense is giving the offense short fields. And if they can do that in this game, I could see BYU running away with this. But it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. And so I think what you'd expect is BYU is going to definitely try to establish the run. But I think in the first couple of plays, you're going to see Jake Retzloff take a shot down the field. How successful that is? That's, maybe another question for the actual game time. But I think you're going to try to see him take a shot down the field. And I've heard, and from what I've seen, Utah may be vulnerable to that a little bit. And so it'll be interesting to see, what BYU is able to do in regards to forcing the issue. And all right, sorry, I had to sneeze, so that's why you see a jump cut there if you're watching the video version of this, and you might hear a bit of an audio cut if you're listening to the podcast. But I think, like I said, you'll see BYU take a shot down the field. They'll try to establish a run. If they're able to be successful in all the facets that they want to be successful in, you may see a big win for BYU. But it's a rivalry game. I think ultimately Utah's going to put up some interesting plays that BYU isn't expecting and isn't necessarily equipped to deal with right off the bat. They'll be able to adjust accordingly. I think BYU, through adjustments, they'll be able to win this game, and my prediction for the game would be BYU 28, Utah 20. But if things do go BYU's way, if things do go the way I would expect based on, if these were just two neutral teams, I'd probably say, based on their performances this season, BYU 42 to Utah's 9. Maybe Utah 16 to BYU's 42. But, and yeah, I get that that's, with Utah's defense, but Utah's defense is also seeing a team in BYU that is going to test them. And, I think this is going to be a good game, and I don't think it's a given that BYU wins. But I really like our chances. BYU needs to go out and put forward the best foot that they can to continue winning, to continue their streak in the rivalry, from, going from 1 to 2, so maybe to start a streak, and then to, continue their perfect season. But, really, you've just got to take this one game at a time, and BYU's been great at doing that all year, and let's see how they perform against Utah. I ultimately, like I said, I think we'll win, but it should be a fun, good, close game, and I look forward to, seeing how loud Bryce Stadium is. I'll be watching it on TV, but I'm looking forward to just seeing the environment and seeing what everything, how everything goes down and how this game goes. We'll see in the post-game edition of this, but, hopefully we're talking about a BYU victory. But anyways, I will talk to you guys soon, and see you guys in the post game.